I'm Jason. The world is yours, and today we have a story about UFC fighter Holly Holm is intrigued by the thought of returning to boxing. Former UFC women's bantamweight champion Holly Holm made a name for herself inside the boxing ring before making her mixed martial arts debut in 2011. From 2002 until 2013, Holly Holm was a multiple-time world champion in boxing. She defended her titles 18 times in 3 weight classes. Women's boxing has never been more popular. WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and ring. Female lightweight champion Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano became the first women's boxing match to headline at Madison Square Garden in April 2022. This is a quote from Holly Holm. A lot of people talk about it. I've always been one of those people that say passion first and everything else falls into place, Holly Holm said during the UFC 281 New York City Media Day. The reason why I left boxing and came to MMA fully is because I was more passionate about MMA in 2013. That's when she was saying it. If feel like you're going to do anything in combat sports, you need to go where the passion is. My very last fight in boxing, it was either going to be 135 pounds or 140 pounds. 140 pounds was my defending belt. 135 pounds was my opponent's belt. My opponent said I usually fight at 135 pounds, not 140 pounds. But Holly Holm had already made 135 pounds for MMA. So I was like, okay, let's fight for your belt at 135 pounds. My opponent was like, no, because it would have to be for my belt. So she didn't want to put it up. So we ended up fighting at 140 pounds, Holly Holm explained. Sometimes I feel like maybe it was unfinished business, and Katie Taylor, that's the belt she has, is at 135 pounds. That's the one weight class I didn't fight in boxing. I fought at 140 pounds, 147, and 154. So to go back and be able to get, a fourth weight class title is always intriguing, especially, and this is the important part, and especially with everything going on. The possibility of a boxing return may intrigue Holly Holm, but she's currently locked into a UFC contract. I really didn't have the passion for boxing, but now it intrigues me. But there's 2 buts in the same sentence. But I'm real stuck. Okay, wow. I've got my contract with the UFC. I love MMA, but it intrigues me. Wow, she said this at a UFC media event. That's surprising. A sponsored UFC media event. She was saying that she's intrigued by boxing, but she's stuck in her UFC contract. Wow, that's surprising. I didn't see that interview. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things going on. I don't know this for sure, but I remember, I didn't check, but I thought there was like a meme of Holly Holm last boxing fight. Did she get knocked out like viciously, or am I making that up? Or did they have to stop the fight or something like that? Maybe it wasn't a vicious knockout, but didn't she take a pretty vicious beating in that last fight, or am I thinking about someone else? Either way, she did mention that she never fought 135 pounds. So to me, the idea of her going back to boxing 10 years later, if she goes back to boxing, will most likely be 2023, and her last boxing match was 2013. And to go down to a weight class she's never been in, right? She never fought at 135 pounds in boxing, and then to fight Katie Taylor, I would definitely not recommend that. I don't know if she's saying that she would want her first fight to be Katie Taylor. I don't know if she has that much clout to just leave MMA. I mean, if she was like the reigning, defending UFC bantamweight champion, it would make an easier case, but she's currently not the champion. I don't think she's even close to being the champion at the moment. But I don't know if she's talking about even taking a warm-up fight Or maybe if she's talking about the Jake Paul part of boxing, where it's just like the kind of exhibition kind of matches, that would be interesting. But she did call out Katie Taylor. I don't know if that's a great idea. I think she would probably likely have to take at least one boxing fight, right, at 135 pounds, just to prove to us. Obviously, I believe she would be able to make the weight. She was the bantamweight champion in the UFC, so she could easily make 135 pounds. I just don't think it would be a great idea to go down to 135 pounds for the first time for your first boxing match versus Katie Taylor after not fighting boxing for almost 10 years. But you know what? I didn't think Logan Paul could beat Anderson Silva in a boxing match. So what the hell do I know? Let me know your opinion of this story. Kind of interesting on a few notes. A UFC fighter having a media event and saying that they're stuck in their UFC contract, saying that, you know, with the environment we're currently in, boxing currently intrigues them. I don't know how many fights she has left on her contract. So we have to see what goes on there, but it's not impossible to see Holly Holm back in a boxing ring as, you know, someone who has actually defended her belt in boxing. She's official tissue boxer. Let me know your opinion of this story. Who do you think Holly Holm should come back and face Katie Taylor in a boxing match already next year, 2023? Do you think she should take a few warm-up fights? And who else in MMA do you think you would like to see come into the realm of boxing, into the sport of boxing? I am Jason. The world is yours. Today we had an interesting story about the sport of MMA and the sport of boxing. UFC fighter, former boxing champion Holly Holm is currently intrigued by the thought of returning to the sport of boxing. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in for the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.